Johan's out there. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. I promise not to sing too much. Oh, Phoebe's joining in. All right, we got some morning people. Uh, Sometimes people get stuck in the virtual hallway. They're out there chit-chatting, checking out those final TikTok videos, finding out what the latest dance craze is, how to do their hair, etc. I already got my doodad up here. Looks marvelous. Don't want the wind blowing it too much today. So you can see behind me, it says, are you ready? Because we are going to be talking about preparing for your career today. So that's going to be our topic. So I went through your responses from yesterday for the uh, session. What do you hope to gain? And so many people want to know about their resumes and how to prepare for that interview because that interview is so important. I interview or have interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people. I told you that I've been in a lot of different careers. I also do consulting work for different companies. They bring me in to interview people. Okay. They just have me come in and interview people for their positions. Uh, how many people have heard of ADP? If you look at your pay stubs and that, you may see ADP on your paychecks. They're known as the payroll people. Have anybody seen that on pay stubs, ADP, or when you're at work, you have to log into an ADP portal, etc. They're the payroll people. They pay more people than anybody in the United States other than the federal government. More companies use them than anybody else. I've worked for them for more than 20 plus years. In the past, I no longer work for them directly. So, a lot of experience in how they do their interviewing, how their payroll processes work, etc. And I can tell you that once you're in your positions, you're in your career, two people can be working side by side doing the exact same job. One can be working and making $5 or more per hour than the person sitting next to them doing the same job. And this is perfectly fine. The difference is in your negotiation. Okay. You will not make the same amount of money necessarily as the person sitting next to you, even though you're in the same position. Don't scream that it's not fair. That's what you negotiate. And that comes in the interview. Sorry, got a cold going on here. But yeah, some of that is the way you handle yourself in the interview. If you're not as professional in the interview, you are giving away dollars. Okay. How you walk in, how you present yourself, how you stand, how you answer your questions. All these things are either raising or lowering your value. You are a brand. How many people have heard of Nike, Ferrari, uh, all these big brands? Anybody hear of these brands? Yeah, you've heard of them. You are a brand. Your name says a lot about you. Your name is going to be your brand. When someone hears Kayla, they are going to know what type of work she does, what she stands for. Does she keep her word? Okay. Johan, they're going to hear Johan's name. They're going to know what type of work Johan does. Your reputation, your brand is going to get to places before you do. You have the opportunity to make your brand known as a good brand or a bad brand. How many people know brands they will not buy? We all do, don't we? Yeah, there are brands we will not buy. Why? Pardon me if I cough during this. Um, because they have a bad reputation. So we're going to learn about that as we go through. So your responses yesterday were spot on. You will learn how to do an interview correctly. You will learn with career services how to formulate your resume, how to put keywords in those keywords you're going to hear throughout this course. They are so important that if you don't have those words on your resume when you're filling out applications online, if you don't have those keywords on your resume, you will never get picked up for a job. They will never call you in for an interview. How many people were aware of that? If you don't have certain words on your resume, you will never get a request for an interview. Okay? It's imperative you have certain words on your resume or you will never get it. How many people are aware that every Sunday you need to go back to every one of those online applications and refresh them or they will never get picked up? Every week you have to go back and refresh those because they will never get picked up the following week. If you put them out there and never go back, that's it, you're done. So you're going to learn tips and things like that in here on how to get those important interviews. So pay attention. This stuff is crucial. I have people who come into the class, oh, I know all this. Well, great. I don't. I learn every time. Don't make the mistake of being the smartest person in the room. The person with that has the biggest ego. Okay? There's a difference between having ego and having knowledge. A knowledgeable person knows their limits. Okay? How many people know they have limits and they have faults? Okay, honest people. If you don't know you have limits and you have faults, I will point them out for you, and so will everybody else, because you do have limits and faults. And if you don't believe you do, that's your number one right there. You don't understand that you do have limits and you do have faults. Okay. We all do. And how many people have heard that question? What are some of your weaknesses in an interview? Anybody ever get those? Yeah. And were you afraid? How many people are afraid to answer that question wrong? Yeah, people are afraid. We're going to show you how to answer that correctly because there is a correct way. It's okay to have a fault and admit it. And it doesn't mean you're not going to get the job. Don't be afraid. Okay, I'm going to give you a hint. This is your career. You drive it. You are in control. And when you go into these interviews, I'm going to give you another hint. You have the right to leave the interview. Yeah. You don't like the job? You don't like what they're telling you? You tell them, I'm sorry, I don't believe this is going to work out. Thank you for your time. Boom. Out you go. You don't have to stay there. You are the one in control. When you go into the interview, I want you to start thinking about this. Why I am giving you information, you're giving me information, and I'm deciding if this company is worthy of me working for you. Change the mindset. Are they worthy of you working for them? In a career, you are not begging for a job. Okay, think about that. You are not begging. You're deciding if this place is worthy of you. They have to have your salary. They have to have your benefits. They have to have your hours. They have to have your location. Are they worthy of you? Build your confidence. You know what you know, and we're going to teach you how to navigate this correctly. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is thinking you're great and not having the skills to back it up. Confidence, you know what you know, and you're not overstating yourself. When you have confidence, it will show through that employer will respect that. Don't go in with a chip on your shoulder thinking you're going to get everything. You're going to learn to negotiate. All right. Any questions so far? We all good? Yes, yes. All right. So we are going to get to getting, and we're going to do some screen sharing here. Let me get my mouse. Here we go. Screen share. Da, 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 da. There we go. And I'm going to turn my screen into a student view because it is a little bit different. And again, we always start on this home screen. Those of you who uh, do come in and look at the class recordings, or you may need to, just to show you on the past recordings, that's how they show up there, and you click on those and they take you to a YouTube video. I send out the announcements when the recordings are available, or try to, but if I miss, they do show up here. So if you don't get a text or an email, they do show there. I try to always send them, but I am not perfect. Told you, we all have mistakes and things like that. Week one, we are here. The discussion open. I'm amazed at the number of people that went in already have done both posts for the week. Kudos to you. Give yourselves a round of applause. Working ahead a little bit, that's incredible. Stay on top of it. That is the way to do it. Free your time up as much as possible. If you only did one post, you'll see a score already of 70. And I let you know, hey, your post was great. You've got a temporary score of 70. That's not a permanent score. That's letting you know I read it, I scored it. As soon as you put that second post in, I will update your score. I try to keep your scores current so you know where you are at all times in the class. I really try to keep those current. Sometimes it may take a few hours for me to get in there. I am not in the class 24/7. So keep that in mind, especially on weekends. So if you wait till the weekend to do your stuff, don't expect those grades to be there boom, boom, boom. I take the weekends off, I'm out there, I'm hang gliding, I'm, doing my marathon running, et cetera, et cetera. Don't laugh at that. I could marathon run if it didn't involve running long distances or being outside in the heat. Other than that, if it involved more pizza eating, yeah, I would do it. No, I try to keep up with them as much as possible so you know where you stand. Today, though, I want to talk about this personality test. You're going to click on this and it's going to take you in here. I want you to take this personality test, which you're going to click on. Afterwards, I want you to tell me what type it gave you and if you saw it as accurate. Don't just tell me the type. You need to tell me if you saw it as accurate. Why did you see it as accurate or inaccurate? So let's take a look at this personality test. When you click on it, you're just going to come down here. You don't have to do this login and stuff like that. You're just going to say, take the test, and you're going to click on these little circles from agree to disagree on each question as you get to it until you get all the way through. Click next, and you'll go to the next one. Keep going until you go all the way through. Okay, that's how you take it. At the end, it will tell you what type of personality you have. It will describe it, and then you tell me what you scored as and if you saw that as accurate. And don't just say it was accurate. You need to start learning how to describe things. Okay, couple of things. I have gone into the labs and I've gone into the shops and I will ask people, so tell me what you're doing. And they'll say, I'm using this machine to do this. Okay, what is this machine called? Number one, they don't know what the machine's called and they can't describe accurately what they're doing. They know what they're doing, but they can't describe it. So work on number one, know the names of the equipment you're using. This is important. Employers want to be able to ask you questions and you need to describe them. This is going to be key in interviewing, being able to be very specific in your descriptions. Don't say, I'm a great worker. Okay, how are you a great worker? So start learning to describe things. Be specific. We have a tendency to talk in general terms. So learn to be more specific. That person has a great car. Okay, why is it great? Well, it's got, a 454 with 4 barrels. It's got da 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 da. Okay, this person's a great singer. Why are they a great singer? Well, they've got this many Grammys. They got this and that. Be specific. This is a place to start learning how to do it. Don't forget your punctuation, uppercase, lowercase, periods. This is not texting your best friend. Write properly. Okay, how do you do that? You click this green box, says start assignment. You can come down here, type in the text entry, type your results, say submit assignment. If you prefer to do a Google Doc or Word document, once you type it in that program, click File Upload here. You'll see this thing that says Upload File. Click on that, and then it'll say Choose File. You click on that, and it will open up the directory on your machine, and then you'll say submit assignment after you choose your file, and away it will go. All right. This is a fun item. Now, why are we doing this? Believe it or not, a lot of companies are doing personality tests. And the reason why they're doing this is you will be likely put on a team with other employees. The personality test is a great way for them to decide where you're going to be placed, what team or group of people you're best to work with. This is becoming more and more common. This is a Meyer-Briggs personality type test, and they're very accurate in most situations. No test is going to be 100%, but this one is pretty eerily accurate. So it's amazing how close they are when people take them. Again, not everyone is going to be accurate. It also depends on how honest you are with the questions. Don't try to give it answers that you think it wants. Answer honestly based on your thought process. The other thing is we're going to start part one of a 3-part project, and that's your career plan. Again, this will be a 3-part project. So starting off correctly is key. Okay. So your career plan is going to go in 3 sections through this course. And the first part is going to be long-term goals. I always have that one person who goes, I don't like to plan. Okay. Well, you're going to. There are no alternative projects in this course. Long-term goals are how you become successful. Wandering around in life is still a goal. You plan on not planning. That is still a goal. No matter what you do, you are still planning. So, some questions you could think about: what career do you want? What type of education or skills do you need? What steps will you need for that? Now, there's a great video. When you click on it, it will take you to this screen here, and it will play this video talking about setting short-term goals and long-term goals. And you can see at the different times it talks about them. This is a great video to help you do this assignment. This part of the assignment, you're only doing the long-term goals. Pay very close attention to what each assignment asks you. If you do long-term, short-term goals, you're only going to be graded on the long-term goals. You're still going to have to do part 2, part 3 later on. Okay, this part you're only doing long-term goals, and you'll need 2 as a minimum. If you do more, it's going to make parts 2 and part 3 that much easier. When you see an assignment and it tells you what the minimum is, don't look at that as that's all I'm going to do, because I want you to start thinking about your career. You get ahead by pushing yourself. If you're doing the minimum, the minimum, the minimum, the minimum in your career, you're going to achieve the minimum, the minimum, the minimum, the minimum. Isn't that amazing how that works? Don't expect maximum pay, maximum benefit, maximum success by doing the minimum. That's why they're separate words. You achieve minimum with minimum. You achieve maximum with maximum. So, yes, you can have a perfect grade with the minimum, but push yourself. It's not that difficult to do, and you might surprise yourself. Think about what you want to do. So, what is a long term goal? Long term is a goal that you want to achieve in 3 to 5 years, and your short term goals will be up to a year. So, in 3 to 5 years, what is something you want to achieve? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to go on further education? Do you want to start a business? What do you want to do in 3 to 5 years? And be specific. Okay. Be very specific. The more specific you are with this long term goal, when we do part two and add the short term goals under it, those will be so much easier. All right. Everybody understand this assignment? Yes, yes. This is emoji time. All right. Okay. So this does not take that long. If you think about where you want to be, we all know where we want to go. You're just writing it down. People do not go through life without trying to go, I would love to be able to do this. I would love to be. The easiest way, ask them what they would do if they won the lottery. Boy, goals just pop out of their heads so fast if they won that lottery. I know mine do. All right. And then we'll continue on with other stuff later in the week. And so, and we'll go on from that. But we have a short presentation that I'm going to do. Is everybody ready for that? Yes, yes. Get that done and get us moving, right? All right. So here we go. Let me get over here, and I hope this comes up correctly the first time. So here we go. All right, it came up right the first time. Let me turn my pencil on so I can draw. I like to draw during the presentations. Get my ink here. I draw a little smiley face. That lets me know my pen is working. And here we go. So we're going to be preparing for our career. You have to. Careers don't just happen. You have to start somewhere. So we have to prepare, right? So we're going to talk about uh, career preparation, purpose of a career plan, self-assessment. Now, as I go through things, I'm going to let you know things that are going to be on midterms. I hate the thought of that because midterms are next week. We're going to be halfway through the course next week. Personal skills, SMART goals, pathing, and a portfolio. Okay. Now, some of these will be more practical than others, so I try to point those out. So, everybody's career preparation is a little different. No two are the same because we're different people. Okay. But there are similarities between them. But the first thing is, what's the difference between a job and a career? And we need to differentiate that because so many of us are in jobs now and not thinking careers. A career is long term in a particular field with opportunities for growth and advancement. If you see somebody in your new career field and they're like, well, I've been in the same position for 20 years. Well, good for you. I'm starting out in the same place you are, but I'm not going to be in it for 20 years because I'm going to move up. When they ask me, well, does anybody want to learn how to do this new procedure? I'm going to raise my hand. My first question isn't going to be, is more money involved? How many people know that? Every time something is offered, their first question is, am I going to get more pay? Hmm. Yeah. You know what happens? They stop asking that person. But the person who steps up, guess what? They get trained, they learn more, then evaluations come around, and guess what happens? They move up. And when they move up, guess what? They get more pay then. Think about how that works. You don't get paid immediately more money because you learn something. But when evaluations come around, you do. But if you keep turning them down, they stop asking. Then every new person comes in and they ask and they move up and they ask and they move up and they ask and they move. And you're that person stuck for 20 years in the same position. Learn how to benefit yourself. Immediate cash is not always the right answer. You're in it for the long run. Okay. I am so sorry for the coughing. A career generally requires more education than a job. You have to be certified or you have to have a degree. A job, typically, you can walk in and be trained and continue working. It doesn't mean they're less important. Please don't get career snobby. Everybody has an important place in the job market. Okay. And then there's career pathways, which are ways of moving around, and they are broken up into different categories. And there are a certain number of pathways, 16 recognized career clusters. Out of all the jobs, they're broken down into 16. And specific industries are referenced in each one of those. And then there's emerging occupations. Now, emerging occupations have developed or changed due to technological or other advancements. And we're going to go over those. Like social media marketing came out. And then there's a couple of websites. Okay, there's ONET, ONWTONline.org. This resource is incredible. So it has all the descriptions of in-demand industry areas in those occupations. Okay, so that's a great place to go. And then this one, has anybody ever been to this website? DOL.gov. Has anybody ever been to this? So important. This website here, it gives you job information, hourly standards for jobs, wage information, and safety information for your career. If you want to know what you should be making in that position, here's a place to go, or Glassdoor. Has anybody heard of Glassdoor? So glassdoor.com will show you, based on the company, what people made in that position. Great place to go. Now, a career plan is the documentation of where a person is today in the job search process and where they want to be. That's why we're having you do this. And items in there are called action items. Okay. This here is a midterm exam question. Okay. Note that. That is a midterm exam question right there. So please take note of that. So items in your career plan are called action items. And the reason why, they are going to have you do an action. So it's very important. And you're reflecting as you're setting these goals. So think about that. The reason why you're doing it is you're telling yourself, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to get there. So it's important to do a self assessment. and a skills assessment, and setting SMART goals. All right. And so these things are key. So you do a long term goal, and then under each long term goal, short term goals, and then SMART goals. And SMART goals are pretty much like short term goals, although they've defined more closely based on very measurable fields: time, quantity, etc. And this is how we're going to set this up so that you can reach that long term goal. So, we're going to do this by a self assessment. And this is going to allow you to set your focus. And we're going to find out about your natural aptitudes, your abilities, your personality. Look, personality. Maybe that's why we're doing a personality test, and your values. So, a self assessment. So many people get this question wrong on the midterm. It's about you. That's why it says self. You're evaluating yourself. Okay, so now let's learn about ourselves. And aptitude. This is a natural ability. Okay, so aptitudes are natural, and they can be cognitive, which is mental. Okay, so how I think of cognitive, I think of a gear inside your head. So that's cognitive is mental. So it's like that gear going around inside your head. Or it can be physical. So you can have a mental aptitude or a physical aptitude. These are natural abilities. Okay, these are not learned, these are not developed over time. These are natural. So an assessment can identify these, and you can take an informal aptitude test or formal test. Places can give these when you go in for the interview. Has anybody had to take a test when they've gone in for their interview? They do math tests, they do writing tests, etc. Anybody have to do a test when they've gone in for an interview? Sometimes places do require those. SATs, ACT, things like that. Um, Sometimes places do require those. And ability. Now, this is what a lot of people do is, did I pass one up? Okay, no. So now we talk about abilities, and ability is your capacity. Okay. This is your limit on what you can do. So now a skill is learned. We can all learn a skill. An aptitude is natural, a skill is learned, and we're limited by our ability. Okay, so you can have an aptitude that is limited by your ability. You can have a skill that is limited by your ability. So, all these things that you learn at STC in the lab, in the shop, those are skills. Some people have a natural aptitude that helps them learn the skill, and then we are all limited by our ability. Okay? We can only do so much. Each person has a different level of what they can do. Now, I asked you before, how many people like ourselves, our personalities? Everybody's personality is different. This is our blend of qualities that predict our attitudes. Anybody got an attitude? I know some of y'all do. Yeah. It's our attitudes, our values, our work habits, such as dependability, loyalty, natural motivation. So we test them to find out. I told you that test we're doing is a Meyer-Briggs type. This is how we find out where we fit in. Now, our values. Now we're starting to get on some touchy situation. How many people have strong values? Nobody has any values out there? Somebody does. Nobody else has value. We all have value. These are our principles and beliefs that we think are important, and they are important to working relationships and our environments. But we have to be careful. We are starting to get into some touchy territory because remember, we are on the job, and a value can affect how they choose to work and live. It affects every part of our life, and they can change over time. And some values aren't likely to change. Okay. So, some examples: the belief in working hard or the importance of caring for people. Those are not likely to change over time. Those are pretty much with you or not. Okay. So, we have to be careful with our values and our beliefs in the workplace because certain values that we have to make sure we are in a work environment that aligns with those because you cannot bring and enforce values at work that are not in line with the company. Does everybody understand that? You cannot push your set of values on somebody that is not in line with the company. The company will determine the behavior that is acceptable at work. So we all have skills, soft skills and hard skills. And some people don't realize that there are two different types of skills. Okay. And a skill is something you do well and they're developed over time. So these are developed over time. And your hard skills are what you get at STC, learning the physical part in the shops, in the labs, the physical doing. That is your hard skills. And that is unique to your trade. A hard skill is unique to your career. Okay? Those hard skills are unique to your career. Okay? And employers will include skills as part of the job requirements. Remember when I said that you have those keywords to put on the resumes? Those are your skills. They're going to be listed in the resumes or in the job description. They need to be on your resumes. So, examples of soft skills and hard skills. Your soft skills: active listening, effective communication, flexibility, initiative, integrity, motivation, patience, problem solving, self-confidence, teamwork. All of these and all of these, those are soft skills, also known as transferable skills, because you notice all these skills go with every job type. You need these for every job. Now, hard skills: accounting, carpentry, computer programming, data analyst, graphic design, manufacturing, marketing, nursing, welding, writing. Those are unique to those careers. Those are hard skills. You need to know the difference between them. Now, technology skills are important, and there's a technology skills assessment. Okay, I'm going to talk about a question that's going to be on the midterm because I know people are going to Google the question and there's a wrong answer that comes up all the time. Technology skills assessment is this: what technology do you use or know? The answer people give is what technology the company needs. That's not it. A technology skills assessment is what technology do you use? We don't care what technology the company needs. What do you use? So please, if somebody says, have you done a technology skills assessment? They don't want you going around asking the company, what technology do you need? They want to know, what can you use? And you just list the technology you know how to use. The questions are not trying to confuse you or trick you. Okay. Now, I talked about SMART goals. I said SMART goals are very similar to short term goals, but it's very much controlled. And SMART stands for specific. State what you want to do. Measurable. It's got to be measurable in time, in quantity, some way it's measurable. Attainable. You have to be able to do it. Okay. So you need to be able to physically be able to do this, and realistic. Okay. It has to be a normal realm and timely. It can't be something that's done in 60 years. It's got to be done in a reasonable amount of time. Okay. So that's what SMART is. So when you see SMART under goals, that's what it's asking. It's a more specific type of short term goal. So when you see this career plan and you see that long term goal and you have that listed, your short term goals can all be SMART goals if you put very specific guidelines. You don't have to have a short term goal and then SMART goals under it. You can combine these and just have SMART goals. Okay, so you can have long term goal and just SMART goals. Now, career pathing. Has anybody heard the corporate ladder, climbing the corporate ladder? Anybody ever heard that? No one's heard climbing the corporate. Yeah, but there's a newer way. So climbing the corporate ladder, you have entry positions, career position. Then you have specialists. Notice each one of these is higher up, supervisory and executive. Now, entry level, little to no experience. Career level, preparation and skills. Specialist, the employee has worked in a career field for a few years. Supervisory, you have people skills and work knowledge. An executive, you have everything. But there's another way. This is called a lattice. How many people have heard of people hitting their maximum pay scale? Anybody heard of that? You can't move up. You're at the max. You're stuck. You're at the top of your pay grade. You can't get paid anymore. Anybody ever hear of that? I see it all the time. So companies have what we call a lattice. So instead of just being able to move up here to manager, you could go across and go up here. And now you could go here. So a lattice allows you to move sideways. You don't like the department you're in, you can go to another department. It gives you the opportunity to move left and right and up. Or maybe you don't like to be a manager anymore. You have the opportunity to go back down to a specialist. So it gives you more opportunity. Now, why would you want to do that? As a specialist, then you could move to another department. You may want to do that. Get new training, become a new position, start a new chapter in your career. So Lattice gives you more opportunity. Now, all these things that we gather together is called a portfolio. And there is a hard copy and there's a digital copy that you can do. And if it's printed, of course, that's your hard copy. And your types are going to vary for your career field. And an electronic copy, why it's great, you can be able to email it anywhere. It's easier to get to people, etc. And so your portfolio is going to create your career persona and it's going to define you. And in that portfolio, you're going to have your resume, your references, any volunteer work. What you're not going to have in it is any reviews. They don't care about your reviews at your current company, but they do want to know about your volunteer work. They do want to know about any special awards you've received. They do want to know about your resume. They do want to know about any of your references. They want to know about the volunteer work and things like that because they want well rounded employees. That lets them know who they are looking at. Now, this persona that they're going to see, it's influenced by your skills, your knowledge, and your personal characteristics. That's why they want to see that. And that's where you get your professional identity and reputation. It will precede you. You think your career field is huge, but a lot of these companies are owned by one parent company. So you may interview for company A, but company B, C, and D are all owned by the same one. So do not burn bridges. Know that they could be all owned by the same one. Does that make sense? Everybody's starting to see how we're going to start evolving. So we're starting off learning about ourselves and our skills. So we need to start today by defining our skills. Find out what your hard skills and soft skills are. All right, everybody got that? Yes, yes? Okay. So today, do some thinking. List your top 3 hard skills and your top 3 soft skills. I don't want you to just list the ones you know your career should have. I want to know the ones you have and be specific. Think about what you have on your resume or should put on your resume. Your 3 hard skills, your 3 soft skills. If I'm hiring you, these are the 3 you think are going to impress me the most. Your 3 hard skills that are going to impress me and your 3 soft skills. You have to impress me with these. Okay? So that's what you're going to do. You've only got 3 to do this with. So that's where we go from there. All right. Any questions? Everybody good? All right. Now, tomorrow, after you've done this, we're going to go further into those soft skills and we're going to talk more about those tomorrow. But let's see what you come up with tonight. All right. So get those responses in, and you have till 6 o'clock to get those in tonight. That counts for your attendance and your participation. All right. And so we will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Y'all have a great day. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.